Right, Dan, let's talk a bit about Cheltenham if we can. Obviously there's two courses at Cheltenham, isn't there? Quite different in characteristic, do you think?
Yeah, very different. Yeah, very different.
The old course, let's talk a bit about the old course first then. So you said that the old course is quite a bit tighter than the new, do you think?
Yeah, it is. Basically it runs around the outside of the new course for the majority of the way until you get to the top of the hill, and then it switches to the inside, which makes it a tighter track. Tactically, you need to have a horse that is going to travel very well.
Right, yeah.
Even jumping 2 out over hurdles, you need to be travelling well.
Up with the front.
Well, you need to be up with the... Well, not necessarily up with the pace. That depends on the speed of the race.
Right.
But what you need to be doing is you need to be travelling well. You need to be able to maintain your position. A bad jump 2 out will often put you on the back foot. You can still recover from a bad jump 2 out, normally not at the highest level.
Right.
You can get pushed quite wide, which isn't a disadvantage because you get onto the rail.
Yeah.
Over hurdles. Over fences, same things apply basically. You've got to jump and travel, maintain your position. Basically any ground that you give away by bad jumping will be taken by a horse sort of surpassing you and getting the better and basically nicking your position.
Yeah.
The movement of 2 out from being just as the hill starts to come into play to actually being around the bend into the straight has made it a lot safer. It hasn't made it any more predictable.
Right.
It's probably about 7 strides off the bend to that jump. It comes up at you very quickly.
And that's the chase fence that was moved around, wasn't it, from the bottom?
Yeah.
Was it at the bottom of the hill, or was it
No. People used to think it was at the foot of the hill. It wasn't.
It's actually rising.
It was rising. It was about 2 or 3 strides as you go uphill.
Right.
And what was happening is the horses that were falling there were coming downhill slightly unbalanced, hitting rising ground without finding their feet, and then they were falling.
Right.
And they were falling quite catastrophically at times. You could often get a lot of problems there. Putting that fence into the straight is not making it. It's making it a lot safer, but it isn't making it any more predictable that you will jump it.
Yeah.
It still takes a lot of jumping. There's still fallers at it.
Just naturally because it's the end of the race as well, so they're getting more tired, I suppose.
And what you will find now is that it's making races quite competitive, I believe. You're turning in with 6 with a chance. They're fanning out across the track because the fence comes so quickly after the bend that you can fan out across the track.
Yeah.
You can still have a really tight finish. And
still got the 2 to clear coming up the hill. Yeah.
Yeah, the last at Cheltenham I think always jumps pretty well.
Yeah. And so the first 2 days of the festival is all on the old course. So you've got races like the Supreme Novices. So you said on the 2 mile hurdles course you're going round over eight hurdles on the circuit. Right. And what's the pace like? You say it's a very fast. But
when you get into Cheltenham Festival, the pace of a race is normally high.
Just because of the quality.
Maintained and high.
Yeah.
There's no let up. You'll normally find a confirmed front runner in every race, if not 3 confirmed front runners. People will be jockeying for position, jumping the first.
Yeah.
Whereas in normal circumstances, they'd be waiting to get their position 4 out to challenge. But there's no quarter given, and in the build up to the festival, obviously around there, the tempo is still high, but it's not as high as it is at the festival. When you get the festival's unique for a host of different reasons. One of the main ones being that you've normally just come off the back of a very wet winter, and this is a lot of times that the horses are on good to soft ground for the first time in 3 months.
Right.
All of a sudden they're going 4, 5, 6 miles an hour faster
than they were. Yeah.
And they're enjoying it, and they're rubbering. The trainers have got them super fit and super schooled.
Yeah.
And they go fast.
Yeah.
They don't get slower.
No, definitely not. And on the chase course, you said the main difference on the old course to the new course was as you turn away from the stand there's a chase fence there, which is actually at the top end on the new course, is it?
Yeah, the cross fence in front of the Arkle stand gives a horse no problems.
It's a good fence, is it?
It's an easy fence to jump. You can lose a bit of length. You can lose a bit of ground there. I've never heard anybody come in and say they lost the race because of a bad jump there.
Yeah.
So that's just something to get out of the way and fan out across the track.
And then you've got another plain fence on the back, have you? And then the open ditch and the water, and then the other open ditch is round the corner, is it?
Yeah.
On both.
The open ditch going uphill.
Yeah.
It takes some jumping. If you're on a tiring horse, you're under pressure at that point. You need a big jump, and the jockey will be asking the horse for the jump. Right. If the jump comes, you can land and you're in contention. And if you get a big jump there and you're going well, you can often get a little breather in. The horse changes onto its left leg to go around the bend, and you can normally get 4 or 5 strides of not relaxed but steady before you run downhill and guns on there.
Guns on then as you come round that bend.
But if you don't jump that well and you're under pressure, you pull up.
And then as they hit the home straight there on the old course, they've got around 2 furlongs to the finish line from there, have they?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And obviously the 2 fences to clear there. And any other courses that you think are good courses to get your horses round in preparation for Cheltenham, or is it always a lot of people say that Cheltenham form is what you look for?
I think in the build up to it, you're looking for a sound jumper, a horse that travels well.
Because you're not a believer about this undulating courses and flat courses, are you?
Well,
so a lot of people say Hexham and Newcastle are good preparation courses.
Yeah, well, I believe that it's a class thing. When you're getting into Class 1 horses, then you'll normally find that they do have a preference for flat or undulating tracks because they're running in their grade.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot brought into it, but nothing stands out like class.
No.
And that's why year after year you get repeat winners at the Cheltenham Festival. This year will be no different.
Yeah, you'll have horses that performed well last year and then come back. But it's all because of class. You think that's more because of class?
It's class.
And they enjoy the track.
Well, it's class.
Yeah,
because they'll normally go and those classy horses can normally follow up at Aintree or Punchestown.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Thanks for your insight on the old course. We'll have a chat about the new course next, if that's all right.
Okay.